Welcome back, everybody, to another installment of the Bodacious Rant with Bern and Ry. I'm humbly Bern, and then my friend there, my cohort is the one known as Ry. He's pulling a Mr. Covington right now.
Oh, hello, Ben. I'm Ryan Covington. Dear God, I was watching some Always Sunny again last night just because we were talking, and I've been going on a binge lately.
I've
especially
been
when, especially
okay.
when he tries to get where Mac is Mac banged Dennis and Dee's mom, so Charlie gets back at Dennis because he's trying to bang the waitress in front of him, and then
Uh,
Dee's just, no, Charlie, we did everything you done. I'm done. This is over. This is over. Again, I just love the power flips every time Charlie's like in control of the show. Like it's such a different dynamic with
yeah,
him.
it's like a child. The child is in charge of the daycare or something. Like it's just a madhouse, and
Yeah,
he's
like
again. I just like his terminologies of like I've had it up to here. It's
I
something
don't
you would
want to
hear
be
like
here.
yeah, it's like something you'd hear like a mom or a parent say to their kid like I've had it up to here. You need to stop.
Let's bring this back down. You know what's gonna bring it down? We practice the song, okay? Oh man. So this week we're not talking about Covingtons and Philadelphias. We're talking about
Even though we could go on.
Oh, we could go on all freaking day. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that WandaVision episode 7. I will say this. I know how last time I said it was supposed to be an hour episode long, or at least I thought it was supposed to be.
It was
I was
a
a little
lie,
disappointed by that.
Steven. A
Yeah.
lie.
That episode had no eagle powers.
Had no nutrients.
But it was still really good. I really like this one. It finally, again, I don't want to spoil it until we get to the spoilers, but I felt like a boss at the end of this episode. I'm like, I knew it.
Yeah. I called it. Yes. I'm
I was like, you got this, you winning son of a bitch.
I just dropped the controller and just walked out like just yes. I was right.
Embrace me as your king and as your god. Um, but real quick, what would you give your rating for this episode of WandaVision, Burn?
Ooh, man. Okay, so I'm a little conflicted on this episode, and I'll get into more details why when we get into the spoilers. But
Of course.
basically, the first half I wasn't a big fan of, but the second half, after the commercial break in the story, I thought it really took off. So I guess to balance that out, I would say I would give it a 3 out of 5. You
Oh,
know, yeah, just because I felt like the execution in certain aspects of this episode weren't that great, but then the latter half of the episode was amazing. So it just like it completely made up for it, at least for me personally.
okay. I mean, that's fair. Like I said, when we get into spoilers. I'll definitely want to hear more of,
Hmm.
why not such a low rating, but one of the lower ratings you've given this one. Actually,
Yeah.
the lowest one you've given, but it's not like a fail at all. So that's
No,
fine.
it wasn't a bad episode by any
No,
means.
I'm gonna give this one a 4, a solid 4. Just because, yeah, kind of like how you said, I did like this episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it throughout the whole thing,
Yeah.
but it definitely, for the final act of WandaVision, like the final 3 episodes, it definitely felt a little like, not so much setup, but it just kind of let me down a little bit here and there. We'll talk about
Mhm.
more about that in the spoilers a little bit, but it was still a good one. It definitely, again, just gave us some more answers for it, but also, again, left some other things that it kind of felt like the last episodes were leading up to. So
Mhm.
we'll have to figure that out. But overall, I liked it. So
Yeah.
let's get into the spoiler session now because there's not much we can say at this point without really spoiling for everybody.
Yeah.
So for those of you who haven't watched it, again, you know the drill. Watch it. Come on back and Burn. What did you say we get to
Let's just get to it. Let's just go.
it? Just go. Go. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Anyways, so yeah, I didn't care for the sitcom format for this episode, to be honest. I know it was
Mm.
supposed to be like Modern Family with the whole like documentary feel to it, and it didn't work. It didn't work for me. Like it was kind of fun, but at the same time, like it's not the same. You know what I mean? Compared to Malcolm in the Middle's like sitcom
Yeah.
version, this one just was like it was missing something.
Yeah, whereas the other episodes up until this point, I felt they really nailed a lot of the aspects of the sitcoms of the era they were homaging, with
Mhm.
like the 50s and 60s, like the way they spoke and the way they acted and how everything was overly exaggerated. And then, going to the 70s up to like the 90s where it really like it felt like it embodied those things well. I felt like with this episode, they didn't really do the whole, single cam, documentary, mockumentary style footage as well as they did the other stuff previously because I don't know, I just felt like some of the techniques they were there, but it felt they weren't like executed that well with a lot of the whip zooms, which it was, as we've seen in The Office and Modern Family, they're done to, put a real exclamation point on comedic moments and like
Yeah.
whatever's going on in the scene. And it felt like here, whereas the zooms and all those other shows are very quick and snappy and like they really put an emphasis on the comedy. This one they felt like it was a little bit like too slow, like in those aspects, and it didn't really like punch up any of the scenes that were going on within this more modern sitcom setting.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't really feeling the sitcom part, but overall the plot line of the story was good. This episode was good still,
Yeah.
where it's literally the next day after Wanda just expanded the hex, so it's not only like not only more visible like it was read the last time, but it's bigger. It is much bigger than last time.
It's
Like
massive.
yeah, even and then even when the Sword had to set up their new FOB, the forward operating base, 8 miles
Yeah.
away from it, like that's they really made sure like yeah we're keeping away from this shit. Like we can't
Yeah.
get because the majority of their team is now like the freak show on the outskirts of Westview,
hmm
and they're just kind of like a circus. I actually thought that was really funny, and how Darcy how she was handcuffed to the truck.
Yeah.
She's now like a escape artist with the chains, and she's able to get out of them quick. So it's like, oh, cool. Like I thought she was gonna be stuck in those the whole time, but and I kind of it was kind of nice to have her get out of the memory thing quick because Vision is a little more
Yeah.
self-aware this time around. Like, how he's like, we locked eyes, don't you remember? And she's like, okay, dude, I'll go out with you. Like, it's
Just
no, you're not
misinterpreted
getting
the whole thing.
it. But I like how he woke her up and stuff like that. It's just with Wanda and the kids though, again, because I got the vibe it was Modern Family. I even had to look it up.
Yeah.
Like,
Very much
what
a
is
modern
this
family.
supposed to be another show? But it was just missing because not everyone had their own little like documentary space. I feel like if they were going to do that, it should have been Darcy. Like the kids should have had a part like interviewing, and that's pretty much it. Or even maybe an outside character just to kind of add some comedy. But I think as much as they want to put the sitcom in, they're also trying to like drive the story more forward. So I think that's why they could have been lacking the whole sitcom part. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I think also what played into it too was, just the state of where everybody is right now, and especially
Mhm.
Wanda in particular, where she's like really depressed right now. So, I mean, it just felt like, with her character being where she is there, it really kind of like brought down the show like to that sort of like really like sad and somber level where it was hard to really find some like entertainment aspect of it, just in terms of playing with the sitcom format. Of course, where the story is at right now is great, of her where she's at and how she's really just she's hit bottom essentially, and that's really interesting for the character. Just the way it plays with the whole like sitcom format is just it didn't match too well.
Yeah, but that is a fair point. How she's just like slipping more into her depression that she's
hmm
just like because this episode was basically showcasing it like she doesn't want to do anything. She's
Yeah.
really like confused and frustrated, especially when the kids are like, "Mom, our video game's acting up," and went from like GameCube to like just Nintendo, and then that old like
The
Sega or
old
whatever.
joysticks, yeah.
Yeah, and then Uno, like her reality is like as much as it's almost she's definitely losing control, and she acknowledged that in this episode like
hmm
later where she's like I don't know why I can't fix everything. I don't know what's happening. And Vision, he's still just trying to figure out what's going on. So when he woke up Darcy, they're like, okay, we got to go. Let's get back home. And what else am I missing? I really like how she kind of filled him in, even though we didn't get to see his reaction completely. But he was like, "So Wanda killed me." It's like, yeah, no, like that's not the whole thing,
You
but
asked her to.
yeah, like yeah, and then he's like, why would I ask? Like he's just trying to piece it together. So like he's still confused by it, but at least
Yeah.
now he kind of has his remember like he's starting to not remember, but he's like, okay, now this makes a lot of fucking sense. Why we are the way we are, why she's feeling this way. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, so do you think his like memory, like him not having memory of everything that happened before is more so due to the fact of like him being reanimated or like because remember when like Thanos tore the stone out of his head, it like tore like the front part of his head off. So you think that that could have added to like the memory loss or something?
It is possible, but let's remember too when we go from like Hayward getting all pissed off about like we need a team in here now, we need to get our attack going or like move forward with the plan. We go to where Jimmy and Monica are outside at the hilltop where she was going to get her like bunker
Hmm.
to go inside, which that was the thing that disappointed me. We never found out who designed it. Like it's just oh, it's a heavily armored rover,
Right.
and it's like, but oh, I know a guy who's a great aerospace engineer. We still don't know who that is, but maybe they'll reveal it later. Like, listen, your thing sucked or something. I don't know.
It didn't work, dude.
No, and she tried to like really hammer in. Theoretically, it should have worked, but like I think with the hex, how Wanda's kind of not losing control or losing control on it, that is just
Hmm.
it did not want to let her in. Like it was like, nope, any vehicle outside of this, we're making sure stays out. Especially with all the drones and stuff. She herself probably subconsciously is like, nope, no, nothing else is coming in here. That's it. Only what I want in here.
Right.
And but like I said, they kind of realized like, oh, Darcy found out that Sword was trying to like bring back Vision. Like we don't know for what, but basically that
Yeah.
was his weapon. So it could be partially his death and why he's just kind of like almost like a newborn, like he just doesn't remember everything before WandaVision. But it also could be with Hayward like kind of experimenting with him and rebuilding him. They could have just erased his memory, like reset him to zero, to factory settings essentially, because he is a machine.
Hit the factory default
Yeah, just
on Vision.
like maybe he is trying to recreate Ultron again, like but for Sword, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, maybe he's trying to use them as like a deterrent for other super, sentient weapons essentially.
yeah, because again, this show like last episode really kind of reminded us as much as he's a villain in this, it is a little understandable why. Just because after the last 5 years and how not even the Avengers could stop Thanos and the decimation that I'm sure those who kind of went through the 5 years, like trying to just piece life back together before everybody came back out of nowhere, it was like we can't let that shit happen again. Like how hard
Yeah.
it was for the last 5 years. Like we're all still mentally scarred from this. Like this is not going away anytime soon, even with people back home. Um, so that could have been one thing for sure. But I will say this: one of the saving graces of this was when Monica, after she tried to bust through, her
Hmm.
photon moment essentially happened.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, like she's just like I don't give a fuck. I'm going through this dome, and and this is another thing how we've been kind of seeing this season that she doesn't want to do anything with Captain Marvel, doesn't want to reference
Hmm.
Carol or anything. That was the thing that caused her to focus. Like when she hears Carol's voice, like, oh, I'll be back, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
She just
And
was
like
like,
something like when they were handing out kids, like they gave your mom the best one. I forgot what the line was, but basically where
yeah,
she's pep talking her up when she was a kid, as we saw in the Captain Marvel movie.
yeah. And again, I think it's part of it is just like she just felt abandoned by her. Like you were like another mom, and you left me and my mom to essentially her die of cancer, and then all this shit happening. Like
Mhm.
she just, but again, she kind of, everybody knows that Carol came back and fought Thanos, but that could have been it. She could be gone again. So we'll have to figure out what happens with that. But I just love that she kind of used her anger to like really focus in on her powers. And when she has her blue eyes, when she gets into Westview, she's just seeing pure energy everywhere.
Yeah, that was so cool. It had like Neo Vision almost.
Exactly. So I think she's gonna be classified as a mutant because essentially that is what happened. Her DNA is mutated and it is continuously
True.
mutating because every time she goes to that dome, like Darcy said, that it's constant. Your blood are changing on a molecular level. Like we don't know what this will do to you.
Hmm.
So that was
And
just
I'll say that,
that's
yeah,
fun.
that was so cool. And I think that that really adds to Monica as a character. I think she's kind of like the first at least hero that we've had in this, Marvel Cinematic Universe. that her heroism comes for a disregard for her own safety. How like it seems like after she's lost her mom and everything, and when Darcy mentioned that whole thing to her in the last episode, that if she goes back in, it could cause some serious damage to her potentially. Where she's like, it doesn't matter. Like she has no care for herself, and she's kind of in that place where she's gonna put others before herself, and that's like super interesting. I don't think we've had that with any other heroes so far in the Marvel universe.
Not at least since Cap, because Captain like
Sure,
because
but
everybody
I think
everybody lost somebody in the movies and like so it's
mhm.
not that you're saying not that I'm saying you're wrong, but Cap is one of the only heroes, if not the only hero, that truly selflessly like decided to use this experiment to be an experiment just so that way he's like I don't like bullies, I want to help people like, and if me sacrificing myself means that, then I'll do it.
Yeah,
So
it's just for him. I don't think it comes from a place of loss,
oh
or
no, not a place of
a
loss for sure.
complete like disregard for his own health. Yeah, he's willing to put himself on the line for others, but it comes from a more, I guess, altruistic place more than Monica does.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Um, but yeah, like I said, I still think like since Cap, we haven't really seen this kind of like
Hmm.
willingness to fight for something and to help somebody. But yeah, definitely, you made the point. She is definitely the most like selfless person, where she's just trying to help Wanda. It doesn't matter about everybody else outside of it. She wants to help Wanda too, kind of. So
Hmm.
I get that. And I know we jumped forward a little bit, but real quick, that commercial, another interesting one featuring the same woman from the last one.
Yeah, it seems like
Or
it's a lot. It's the same. This same lady that's been in the live action versions of the commercials. Not the like the stop motion claymation
no,
one.
not those
The
claymation
static.
one, but the last one, the Lagos one. She hasn't been around the whole of them, has she? I just noticed her in the Lagos one.
Yeah, yeah, it was her, and then she did the Hydra Soak also. And then I
Oh.
forget she wasn't in like the toaster one, I believe, in like the first episode,
Or the watch one, right?
or the
The
watch one either. Yeah, I think she's only been in the one with the Hydra Soak, and then this one, and then the Lagos one.
before we move on and before like we kind of dive into that, do you think she's a special character or do you think she's just a random model that they could find? Because my speculation is that that could be Wanda's mom, and she's just reminders
Oh,
that
that
kind
is
of
an
thing.
interesting theory. I never considered that. Honestly, I thought she was just, just someone they picked to be like the actress in these commercials. I didn't really put too much thought into it, but that very well could be the case. I mean, we'll see, but that's an interesting theory that I didn't consider at all.
I think it'd be kind of cool. It's like this woman that's like like almost reminding Wanda of all the things she's gone through in her life, and it just happened to be her mom in that commercial, like because she had her parents for when she
Hmm.
was a kid, so this is still kind of like living her kid moments essentially. I mean, at least until maybe like the like 2000s, but the timeline gets a little confusing there. But the Nexus pill to help with depression and stuff.
Hmm.
Note Did you notice how in the box it looked a little Asgardian, like the pattern was like kind of like that?
No, I was trying to figure out like what the significance of Nexus was. I didn't really look into like a lot of the the Easter eggs and breakdowns of what that is. But if you know, I mean, I'm happy to to listen.
Easter eggs wise, no, but I just thought that the pattern, like how it's like intertwining and stuff like that, it gives a very Asgardian feel to
Mm.
it almost, like, and how it's like any reality doesn't matter. It's definitely hinting at there's more to this, like given like Wanda's created her own reality in Westview and stuff, but I think it's hinting more at like it doesn't matter what reality you're in. This is didn't help you through depression. Like she's gonna break the barriers between the worlds, as has kind of been hinting with Evan Peters' character from the last couple episodes, like because we all know he's from the Fox Marvel universe,
Yeah.
and now he's the actual brother like he was in the movies. I think it's kind of hinting like they're breaking the bounds of barriers. So I think that's what it could be hinting at, but it's also just like choose your own reality or just give up on reality. Just because again, she's really down on herself, she's not feeling great, so she's
Hmm.
just kind of like I don't give a fuck. I'm done with this a little bit. Like I'm done
Yeah.
trying to please everybody and like trying to help Visions. Like if he doesn't want to be here, he doesn't want to be here. Like I
Hmm.
don't care.
And it was
Uh,
interesting too how like I think right before the commercial airs is where that I guess that person off camera, right?
yeah.
Like tells Wanda as she's giving, her her little take thing that, do you think maybe it's because you deserve it? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Wow,
I
why
thought
would
it
you
was
say that? I mean,
pretty
we find out later on.
I thought it was pretty dark though. Like, do you think you
Yeah.
deserve it? It's like you're not supposed to talk. Like that was kind of. It's almost like if you. I kind of imagine as if it was a horror movie and you just heard that. It's like, what the fuck was that kind of thing? Like you're not
Yeah.
supposed. You're already breaking the rules here. So I thought that was interesting. I kind of liked Vision's little interviews. Was like
Hmm.
so. That would explain why everything. She's had such a hard life, and Wanda I think is keeping me away from the house, and it's getting annoying. Like
Yeah,
it's
just like him and Darcy being stuck at that stoplight by, people coming in to fix it, and then the train of
the
kids.
kids, yeah, just oh, there's puppies now. Like what is this? Like Darcy's just, she's just, it's just. I love her line too. Where it's like, oh, a little ridiculous. Isn't this a little too much for out in the sticks, huh? Like,
Hmm.
and Vision's just kind of like losing it with her. Like now that he's getting like annoyed with her and annoyed with the situation. Like, okay, Darcy, like I get it. Like, quiet, please. But, um, there wasn't really anything else in this episode that stood out to me. Although when Monica reached Wanda's house and she's trying to force her out again, trying to slam her to the ground.
Yeah.
I love how she just caught herself superhero. What does
Yeah,
Deadpool call
superhero
it?
landing.
Superhero landing. He's gonna do a superhero landing when it shined blue. Her
It's
eyes are
really
blue. It
bad
was
on the
like,
knees.
and Wanda's face was priceless. Like when she saw the blue in her eyes and her catch herself, she was like, "Oh shit." Like what did I like she's kind of questioning like did I just create her? Like what the fuck is happening now?
Yeah, like, whoa, why does she have powers?
And Monica's like don't dare you say I'm a liar. Like you put all that shit in my head. She's like
Hmm.
don't try it. And like Wanda's trying to stand up again, but it's like Monica's just preaching to her like I'm please, I'm trying to help you. Like, it's okay to feel hurt. You got to embrace it and move forward with it. Like, that's how you're going to get better. You can't
Yeah.
keep ignoring it. But
She knows that deep down that Wanda's not the villain. She's telling him basically when her like little rant is just saying, I know you're coming from a place of pain right now. You're not a villain that Hayward's trying to make you out to be.
yeah, like don't stoop to Hayward's level. Like he is trying to mess with you and let's figure out why. Like you can't let him win by being not only being the villain but also letting him get Vision essentially because
Hmm.
Jimmy was like that's why she's tracking her and like he's tracking him and all this stuff, but Agnes though. We've been seeing hints of her villain like more like there's something more to her in the last few episodes especially besides
Yeah.
like the first few. The second act essentially not only seeing her more self-aware but I'm getting a more sinister feeling. And when Tommy and Billy went to her house to kind of give Wanda her alone time, when the moment he said, "It's quiet here," like I don't hear anything, but
Hmm.
I don't hear anything from you either.
Yeah.
He was like, "What? Like, how the fuck do you know?" And that's when I'm like, "This is bad. This is really bad." Super villain
Hmm.
moment. And then when she came out to Wanda to like, "Oh, like you, like she's been through enough. You leave her
Yeah, like a
alone."
concerned neighbor, like or like a friend, like
I,
leave Wanda alone. She's already hurt. Like, okay.
and when she told the kids, when she told Wanda, like the kids are in the basement, they're playing. Like, yeah, fucking right. Because the house is already super dark and serial killer feeling
Hmm.
as it was, and when she just goes down and it's all I just got as soon as I say I'm not gonna say it yet, but when she went down there, I was like, oh my god, I fucking called it. I fucking
Uh-huh.
called it. I was just like, ah! And I
I was
think
like,
that
oh,
could have.
I knew it.
But when we get to like at the end of the creepy stone basement with like those purple vines and stuff, we see there's like multiple entries in that place, or at least something going on. I think that was supposed to be it. Her basement could not only be like her magic room or her evil lair, but
Mhm.
also maybe it's a branch to other realities.
It could be. And I mean, there's got to be something playing into, the whole like the roots and stuff. I wonder if it's like a different way of accessing like, or like referring to the world tree, right? Where I think that was
Yeah,
brought up in Thor, right? Where it's like these different realms are all part of this, branch. Just one tree, but it's a, different branching realities and stuff.
exactly. And I think the Nexus, like how it's the center of all these realities, because how I was just saying, oh, it doesn't matter, like it's all about you kind of thing. And when she came down and did that, just like, it's Agatha Harkness, darling, nice to meet you. I was like, oh, I fucking knew it. I was just like, ah. And I love the little snippet how it's like a funny like supervillain sitcom and just
Yeah,
Agatha all
Agatha,
along.
Yeah, Agatha all along. It was so
But
good.
but it really just finally answers. She has been a villain. She
Hmm.
has been this witch character. And I did a little more research. Not she's not necessarily a supervillain in the comics, depending on the iteration, but she is responsible for a lot of magic in the Marvel universe. Like again, she was responsible for helping create Billy and Tommy for Vision and Wanda. Um,
Ah.
but and honestly, if you think about it, magic has never been outside of the realm of Marvel because like how Thor acknowledged that it was supposed to be it's like another form of science, like an advanced form of
Hmm.
science. And Doctor Strange, literally he's a sorcerer, the Sorcerer Supreme. Their
Hmm.
magic was like all like gold and yellow and stuff. So they're kind of neutral. Wanda's is red, so it's a little more I feel like a little more personal and more on the sciencey side. And
Uh-huh.
then Agatha's is purple. So I think that's just saying straight up she's a villain. It's almost like the three different versions of it and how and then Photon aka Monica, hers is blue, like it's
Hmm.
something completely new, like hers and Scarlet and Wanda's are totally different colors. So I'm
Yeah, so
just
like Agatha is very like old magic, you think?
I think so. And how it's imbued with like the vines and stuff, how they're like glowing purple. I think
Hmm.
hers, besides like the sorcerers and stuff of like Doctor Strange, I forgot what they're called, but yeah, it's really bothered me. Anyways, how there's magic is like not only to like protect the world and like kind of stand by, almost like a neutral sense,
Yeah.
where Agatha's is just straight up magic, like dark magic and blood magic, because she helped create the kids. She created Quicksilver out of nowhere. Like she's been manipulating every little aspect of the show. So it's like I definitely think there's more sinister to her. We'll have to find out next episode because I love where
Yeah.
and she's like, I killed Sparky too, and just her
And I
evil
killed
laugh.
Sparky too.
It's like, oh, you bitch! But it's so fun to watch. Like
That was
that
the
ending
funniest thing.
saved the episode for me a little
Yeah,
bit. It's like
definitely.
finally confirming Agnes's, aka Agatha's role in the show, and it was a little brought a little brevity to it. Like it was evil, but it was funny.
Yeah, it's very tongue in cheek.
So I thought that was nice. And then the mid credit scene when Monica opens up the basically the door to the basement, like another door, and there's still
Hmm.
vines. And Quicksilver, Snooper's gonna snoop. And it's just like, oh shit.
It just reminded me of the
Oh man, that's an inside joke, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to fill you guys in on that next time. Oh man, I can't wait for next episode. Um, but that'll do it for me. It was pretty solid, but well, I think the next couple are gonna be like epic for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope so. I feel like all right. They've been doing enough setup at this point. They can already like start paying off a lot of these things. Like let's really get this third act, into high gear now.
Absolutely. But oh man. Well, in the next episode we're gonna talk a little more about some movie news coming up and stuff. But until next week for WandaVision, I'll talk to you later, Bern.
Yeah, I'll see you then, or I'll see you on another
Absolutely.
time.